Welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have one of my favorite organizations because this organization gives you a good night's sleep. And no, it's not a mattress company. I'm talking about Sound Outreach. Please join me in welcoming Brian Flint. You are still, thank goodness, the executive director of Sound Outreach. Welcome back.
Going strong. We appreciate being here.
It's great to have you here. And you brought with you a new face to Cityline. And no, it's not Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It is Levi Merchant, who is a financial counselor for Sound Outreach. Welcome to Cityline, Levi.
Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Great to have you here. So, Brian, as we know, and we talk about when you and I are just on, Tacoma is still booming. And we love it. People are still moving here in droves, and they have their own financial baggage that they're bringing with them. So this is a good time to tell them about Sound Outreach. So what do we say to someone when they go, Sound what?
Sure, yeah. So Sound Outreach is a nonprofit organization that serves Pierce County and South King County. We have free services for people who are struggling financially. And we have financial coaches like Levi and employment coaches that work one-on-one with our clients to help them deal with credit issues, debt, help them figure out what their career path is so they can begin to increase their wages. And it's really about helping people who are stuck in a cycle where the income at the end of the month doesn't match up with the expenses. And how can we get you so that you start to create a savings account and create some stability in your lives? And so we work with a lot of partners in the community just to serve people with free services to help them create stability in their lives.
Wow. If that was a pill, I'd swallow it every single day, Brian, because that is peace of mind. And that's serenity in our lives, especially after COVID. And now that we're dealing with the Delta variant, we are seeing headlines of a shortage of qualified applicants, a shortage of applicants. So Levi, what are your clients facing these days when we see things like people aren't working, people are accessing food banks? And I'm sure I'm just hitting the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of barriers and a lot of individual barriers that are specific to certain people. But I think right now a huge issue is housing and having housing stability, affordable housing specifically, something that they can afford and carry with them. So, if we can help people, find those housing resources and also prepare on how to afford that apartment payment, a rent payment, that's a huge impact we can make. Another big one is credit repair help, credit building and getting to a place where you can qualify for that apartment is huge. And that's a common one that people come to me for. If you have a good credit score, you usually don't notice it as much. You don't really need it as much. But when you have a bad credit score, most people are very aware of it and aware of the things that it affects and limits them on. So, helping people with that flexibility. But just in general, often clients need help getting organized, setting a structure to their finances, and just trying to search for someone to talk to about a taboo subject that they're not always taught in schools or through family.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I've had numerous conversations with my partners in the community about that 18 months of where we all were sheltering in place to some degree. Some people had unemployment. Unemployment's now gone, and they don't know what to do. And when you talk about housing and rent, that is a pot that's boiling over in the city of Tacoma. We are in dire need of helping our unhoused how to figure that out. So Brian, based upon that, what work are you doing with those who are behind in their rent, especially now that the moratorium is over?
Yeah, it's a really scary time. So 12% of households in Pierce County are behind on their rent as of August. and they average about $5,000 behind on their rent, which is significant. And so Pierce County has federal funds to distribute. They're working with 8 nonprofit partners to distribute those funds to folks so that they can get right with their landlord and pay that back rent. People should call 211 if they're behind on their rent. What we are doing is we are collaborating with all 8 of those nonprofit partners in the county, because some people, if they get the funding and pay back the landlord, they'll be fine. They'll be able to move on, get past the pandemic. But others may have some of those credit issues and bad credit that Levi mentioned. And so if people have other issues like medical debt or student debt, or they're trying to increase their wages so that they can keep up with that rental payment in the future, they should call us. We'll get them connected to Levi or another financial counselor and help identify what things can we do through our free services that can help you get past that cycle that you're in, that's keeping you potentially, so you may pay off the rent now, but 3 to 6 months from now, you still may be at risk of being evicted. And we don't want that to happen. So we want people to reach out to us and see if we can assist them with those issues.
That, boy, what a gift. Because I know that it is on a lot of our lips. When are we going to return to normal? What is normal? And normal is not being afraid of being evicted. That's not peace of mind. So the fact that Sound Outreach can offer wraparound services and direct people to resources is worth its weight in gold. Absolutely. Levi, you have a partnership with the University of Washington, Tacoma. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so my colleague and I from Sound Outreach are working with first-generation college students at UW Tacoma to help bring financial education and awareness to students. So college students have unique financial challenges, especially first-generation college students who they're often billed with, the full financial load of college. And so working with them through small group sessions and through one-on-one individual coaching to give them opportunity to ask questions and talk about finances and really look at the personal challenges they're facing.
So I was a college student once and was around a lot of other college students. And back in the 1980s, we had credit cards thrown at us like no one's business. And we didn't have any education about, wow, let's not spend $5,000 on pizza and beer. And I think that when you talk about first generation, that is exactly information that they are not going to have to understand an interest rate, a minimum payment, or even what a credit limit is. So what's the biggest mistake, Levi, that you can tell us that someone makes that maybe we can prevent in the next few minutes?
Yeah, well, I think what you're saying about the credit cards and loans, for example, I know in my experience, I was lucky enough to have a family that did teach me a little about money, but I still took out a ton of student loans for college. And I think helping guide that mindset and realizing this is real money, this is dollars that you will have to, pay back. And I think college is a good time to kind of dive into that and get a hold of what money is and what the transactions and everything. So I think just looking into that mindset of, okay, this is going to have to be paid back, and trying to think, short-term and long-term is very important. And a place to learn is college, and you'll make mistakes, but if you're trying to learn more, you'll be in a better place.
I love that. So give us a success story out of that bag of tools, whether it happened when somebody walked in the door wisely into Sound Outreach, or it was a student that you were sitting down talking with over a cup of coffee.
Yeah, well, just last week I had someone meet with me the first time, and there's not always success the first meeting, but we were pretty excited because we went through a credit report review with him, and he had some medical collection debt. And so we realized he would qualify for financial assistance through that, through the multi-care system. And so he should be able to get that. I believe it was about $2,000 in collection debt removed, which is going to help reduce his debt load, of course, and also should increase his credit score over time. And he's working on other credit building strategies that we focused on to try to get a place to rent on his own. So that was a great success, just in that first meeting, seeing that. I've also had, some intangible successes that sometimes might be more important to the individual. I had a client who got her car repossessed and just struggled with the fear behind that, the loss of the vehicle, and just the embarrassment of realizing she wasn't managing her money well and didn't pay her payments and didn't value that. So just really working through that and talking through that, even though we didn't, go through many specifics on, dollars and numbers. I realized, she kind of changed her mindset and her attitude. She started saving more and is working on paying off that deficiency balance. So sometimes it's just, having that conversation as well.
You hit on a real important point, and that is the confusion, embarrassment, I'm even going to say shame behind
Absolutely.
messing up financially. And when you're young, I think the thing that you want to do is to pretend it doesn't exist, and to think that you can outrun your credit report. But that doesn't happen, does it, Levi?
No. And I say action cures fear. So, I love that quote because sometimes you just got to push through, and sometimes starting is the hardest part. So, if you feel like you're in a place where you need help, reaching out to myself or Sound Outreach, we can kind of guide you through it.
I had a friend who's in charge of customer service for Tacoma Public Utilities, and she said the worst thing you can do is to ignore this problem, is to not open your bills, not go to the mailbox, and to think it will go away. Brian, how can people get a hold of you and Levi? What's the quickest way?
The quickest way is to call our phone number. I believe it's on the screen. You can also go onto our website, soundoutreach.org. We have a form on there. You can also reach us by dialing 211. And 211 is a great resource. Any issues you have, they have a variety of ways of connecting you. And just know our work's really about empowerment, and like what Levi was saying, it's really about gaining control over your financial life and making those little steps that build into big successes. And it's just a pleasure to work with our clients and staff like Levi, who are so fantastic. It's just kind of helping people unlock their own potential. And that's what it's really about.
I have to commend you, Brian, as the executive director for, I think you knew what you were doing when you were hiring this young man. He has that appeal to a younger demographic than what perhaps I would if I was working for Sound Outreach. So good on you, because the sooner we get those roots planted in our young people, the sooner they can bloom. So I thank you so much for being here today. And I want to have you back on very soon because we can't talk enough about this. Deal?
Deal. Thank you very much.
That's great.
We have much more to come on Cityline. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this quick break.